In the heart of the red sandstone canyons of Arizona, where the wind sang through the cliffs like ancient spirits, lived a young orphan named Ayanna. Her parents had died when she was a child, leaving her to be raised by the tribe's elder women. Though she had no family, her heart was full of courage and kindness. Every morning, she would fetch water from the stream, gather herbs, and help the old healer, Grandmother Tiva, care for the sick. But deep inside, Ayanna often wondered about her place in the tribe. Some whispered that an orphan could never truly belong, and others said she was touched by the spirits, a blessing or a curse, no one knew for sure. Still, she carried herself with quiet dignity. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the red cliffs, the sound of galloping hooves echoed through the canyon. The tribe gathered as a tall warrior rode in, his horse black as night, his presence commanding. It was Chief Kiona, leader of the Navajo warriors, returning from a border skirmish. His eyes met Ayanna's across the firelight, a fleeting moment, but something ancient stirred between them. Kiona saw not just a servant girl, but a spirit strong as the land itself. And Ayanna felt, for the first time, the rhythm of her heart beat in sync with another's. Neither knew that this meeting, born of fire and silence, would change the destiny of the tribe forever. The next morning, the village was filled with whispers. Chief Kiona had returned with a wound from battle. Though his strength was legendary, the arrow that struck his shoulder had turned the skin dark with infection. The tribe's healers tried their best, yet his fever burned high. Grandmother Tiva sent for Ayanna. "Child," she said, her voice trembling, "your hands are gentle, and your heart listens to the spirits. The chief needs you." Ayanna hesitated. "Me? I am just an orphan." "Even the smallest roots hold healing," Tiva smiled. Inside Kiona's tent, the air smelled of herbs and sweat. He lay restless, his breath shallow. When Ayanna knelt beside him, his eyes fluttered open, still fierce, even in pain. "Why do they send a girl?" he murmured. She said softly, "Because the spirits asked for me." Through the night, Ayanna cleaned his wound, whispered prayers to the winds, and laid cool cloths upon his brow. Her voice, calm as flowing water, soothed him. By dawn, the fever began to fade. When Kiona opened his eyes again, the first thing he saw was her dark hair lit by morning light, her eyes full of quiet strength. "You stayed," he said. "I could not leave," she replied. Something unspoken passed between them, a bond neither dared name. Yet in that silence, the chief who led warriors, and the orphan who healed with faith, both felt the same truth: their souls had already recognized each other. Days turned into weeks, and Chief Kiona's strength slowly returned. The tribe celebrated his recovery with drums, dancing, and songs that echoed across the desert night. But while others rejoiced, Kiona's thoughts often wandered to the girl who had saved his life. Ayanna tried to stay away. She feared the gossip already spreading through the village, whispers of the chief's eyes following the orphan girl, of destiny crossing forbidden paths. Yet when she went to the stream at dusk, he was often there, waiting. One evening, beneath the fading light, Kiona spoke first. "You've given me life twice, once with your hands, and again with your heart." Ayanna lowered her gaze. "A chief's heart belongs to his people, not to an orphan." He smiled sadly. "And yet, even the wind listens to no tribe. It goes where it chooses." The silence between them deepened, filled only by the murmur of the river. Then, from somewhere in the canyon, a hawk cried, a sound the Navajo believed was a sign from the spirits. "The spirits approve," Kiona whispered, half in awe. Ayanna shivered. "Or they warn us." But when Kiona reached out and brushed a strand of hair from her face, she did not pull away. In that moment, the boundaries between chief and orphan, power and poverty, began to blur. For the first time, Ayanna felt not like an outcast, but like a woman seen by destiny itself. And Kiona, the warrior who had never feared death, found himself afraid, not of losing battles, but of losing her. As days passed, Kiona and Ayana's secret meetings became the whispers of the wind. They met near the old cedar tree beyond the canyon, where the stars burned bright and free. There, they shared stories, laughter, and silences that spoke louder than words. But no secret stays hidden forever. One night, when Kiona returned to the village, the elders were waiting. Their faces were carved with anger and fear. "Chief," said Elder Nantan, "you dishonor your blood. A leader must marry a woman of noble lineage, not a rootless girl." Kiona's jaw tightened. "Ayana is of noble spirit, the kind none of you can see." The elders exchanged uneasy glances. "She has no name, no clan. The spirits will curse the tribe if you join with her." The words burned inside Kiona, but he said nothing more. That night, he went to see Ayana. When she saw his face, she knew. "They know about us," she whispered. He nodded. "They want me to end it." Tears welled in her eyes, but she stood proud. "You must obey your tribe, Chief. I will not be the reason they lose faith in you." Kiona took her hands in his. "You are the reason I found faith again." The wind rose, carrying dust and moonlight between them. Ayana turned away before he could see her tears fall. As she walked back into the darkness, the spirits watched, silent witnesses to a love that defied tradition and fate. For the first time, both hearts felt the weight of destiny's cruel test. Weeks passed after their parting, but peace never returned to the tribe. The land grew restless, the winds blew harshly, and the animals strayed far from their hunting grounds. The elders began to whisper that the spirits were angry. One night, as the moon rose red over the canyon, Grandmother Tiva gathered the tribe for a sacred ceremony. Her wrinkled face glowed in the firelight as she cast sacred dust into the flames. The sparks rose like stars, and her voice trembled as she spoke. "The spirits have spoken. The tribe will face great sorrow until truth and love are honored again. The orphan child is not cursed, she is chosen." The people gasped, their eyes wide with fear and wonder. Kiona stepped forward, heart pounding. "What do you mean, Grandmother?" Tiva's eyes met his. "The girl carries the blood of the old chieftains. She was hidden as a child when her family was betrayed. Her spirit was protected so the tribe could one day be healed through her." The crowd fell silent. Kiona felt his breath catch. Ayana, the orphan girl he loved, was born of the very blood they revered. That same night, he rode through the desert to find her. Under the light of the red moon, he called her name through the canyon. Ayana appeared from the shadows, her eyes wide. "Why have you come?" He dismounted, his voice breaking. "Because I finally understand, you are not my shame. You are my destiny." And as the moon glowed above them, the prophecy began to unfold. When Kiona brought Ayana back to the village, holding her hand before all, the people stared in stunned silence. The morning sun cast golden light over them, as if even the heavens paused to witness fate's moment. "This woman," Kiona declared, "is not an orphan. She is of the blood of chiefs. And I will honor her as my equal, before the tribe, before the spirits." For a heartbeat, there was stillness. Then the murmurs began, anger, disbelief, fear. Elder Nantan stepped forward, eyes burning. "Even if she bears noble blood, she is not one of us. Her return will bring war upon our heads." But Kiona did not waver. "If war comes, I will face it. But I will not betray my heart again." Ayana stood quietly beside him, her heart trembling. She could feel the tribe's judgment like arrows piercing her skin, yet she lifted her chin high. The strength of her ancestors flowed through her veins now. That night, dark clouds gathered over the canyon. Thunder rolled like drums of war, and lightning split the sky. Grandmother Tiva watched the storm from her tent and whispered to the wind, "The spirits test them. Only love as pure as theirs can calm the storm." As rain poured over the land, Kiona and Ayana took shelter beneath the sacred cedar tree, the same place where their love was born. The storm raged around them, but neither moved. For in that tempest, they found peace in each other's arms, proof that even the fiercest thunder could not silence a love chosen by the spirits. The storm had barely passed when riders arrived from the north, enemies of the Navajo, seeking revenge for old wounds. The prophecy had come true, war had followed love. Kiona gathered his warriors, the fire of battle burning in his eyes. Ayana tried to stop him, fear trembling in her voice. You cannot fight alone. The spirits have only just given us back our peace. He took her hand gently. If I do not fight, my people will fall. But remember this, Ayana, you are the heart of this tribe now. If I do not return, promise me you will lead them. Tears glistened in her eyes. Without you, I have no strength. You are my strength, he whispered, pressing his forehead to hers. Then, with the rising sun, he rode away. The battle raged in the valley below, dust, screams, and thunderous hooves. Ayana stood on the cliffs, chanting prayers to the spirits, her voice carried by the wind. Each word felt like a blade cutting through her soul. Hours later, silence fell. The warriors returned, wounded, weary, and carrying their fallen. Among them was Kiona, blood upon his chest, his breath shallow but eyes still burning with love. Ayana ran to him, falling to her knees. No, the spirits promised. He smiled faintly. They kept their promise. They gave me love worth dying for. As the sun dipped below the red horizon, Kiona's hand fell limp in hers. Ayana lifted her face to the sky and cried out, not in despair, but in devotion. For love, she knew, does not end with death. It becomes legend. The tribe mourned for their fallen chief. Songs of sorrow echoed through the canyon, their voices rising to the sky like smoke from sacred fires. Ayana sat beside Kiona's resting place beneath the great cedar tree, the same place where their love had been born, and where now it rested forever. Days turned to weeks, yet she could not leave him. Each dawn, she brought wildflowers and whispered prayers to the wind. You are the heartbeat of my soul, she would murmur, and I will keep your spirit alive. One night, as the moonlight touched the desert sands, Grandmother Tiva appeared beside her. The spirits are pleased, she said softly. Through your love, peace has returned. But you cannot live in sorrow, child. You must lead them now. Ayana looked toward the village, where the fires still burned. Slowly, she stood, her tears shining like morning dew. Then I will lead, not as his widow, but as his promise. From that day, the tribe began to change. Under Ayana's guidance, the people healed the wounded, rebuilt their homes, and sang songs not of loss, but of unity. She became known as the Moon Chief, the first woman to lead the Navajo people, wise, brave, and kind. And every night, when the wind passed through the canyon, it carried a whisper, Kiona's voice, calling her name. Ayana would close her eyes and smile, knowing he was never truly gone. For love, once blessed by the spirits, never dies. It lives in every heartbeat, every breath, Ev.